The fluorescent lights of Boston General's emergency room hummed above me as I finished my last rounds for the night. It was hard to believe that in just a week, I'd be getting married. Yet here I was, pulling another late shift, because that's who I am. Dr. Marcus Chen, always putting others first. "You look exhausted, Dr. Chen," Emma said, leaning against the nurse's station. My fiancé's gentle smile was a stark contrast to the chaos of the ER. As a pediatrician on the floor above, she understood the demands of our profession all too well. "Just some family matters," I replied, trying to mask my unease. Due to certain circumstances, I had recently found myself in the uncomfortable position of having to support Sarah, my brother James' girlfriend, in her decision to leave him. The entire situation had thrown my family into turmoil. Sarah, a clinical psychologist I'd known since our college days, had been dating my brother for almost 5 years. That's how they met. James had reached out to her after seeing her in some of my social media photos. He'd always had a way of turning everything into a competition, even my friendships. Emma and I had been high school sweethearts, and next week would finally be our wedding. But knowing James, my investment banker brother, who could never stand when attention wasn't focused on him, I had a feeling he wouldn't let our special day pass without trying to make it about himself. "Your brother's coming to the rehearsal dinner tomorrow, right?" Emma asked, her voice carrying a hint of concern. She knew our complicated family dynamics all too well. I nodded, feeling the familiar weight of family expectations settling on my shoulders. Working in the ER had taught me to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Little did I know just how much I would need that mindset in the days to come. Pre-wedding family dinner, the following evening. The private dining room at La Maison, one of Boston's most prestigious restaurants, felt suffocating despite its elegant high ceilings. James had insisted on choosing the venue, and our parents, Thomas and Patricia, had eagerly agreed. They always did when it came to their younger son's suggestions. To Marcus and Emma, James raised his glass, his perfectly tailored suit reflecting his success as an investment banker. My big brother, always the achiever. Harvard Medical School, chief resident at Boston General. Tough acts to follow. His words carried that familiar undercurrent of competition that had characterized our relationship since childhood. Sarah, sitting beside him, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. As a clinical psychologist, she was probably analyzing every subtle interaction at the table. "James, please," my mother interrupted, her diamond necklace catching the light. "You're doing wonderfully yourself. The youngest vice president in your firm's history." I watched as Emma squeezed my hand under the table. She knew how these family dynamics played out. The constant comparisons, the underlying tension. "We're just proud of both our sons," my father added, though his proud smile was directed more at James than me. Different paths to success, right? The waiter arrived with our appetizers, providing a momentary reprieve from the conversation. Sarah caught my eye briefly, and I could see something troubled in her expression. If I had known then what she was holding back, I might have been better prepared for what would unfold at tomorrow's wedding. "Speaking of success," James continued, "I have some big plans coming up. You'll all see soon enough." The way he emphasized "soon" made my stomach turn. As an doctor, I developed a sixth sense for incoming disasters. And right now, all my instincts were screaming that my brother was planning something that would overshadow the biggest day of my life. Wedding day, church reception hall. I never could have predicted how dramatically my wedding day would unfold. The reception hall was beautifully decorated, soft lighting casting a warm glow over the gathered guests. Emma looked radiant in her wedding dress, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. But of course, James couldn't let one day be solely about me and Emma. In true James fashion, he had to make our wedding about himself as well. Looking back, I should have seen it coming from his smug expression throughout the ceremony. During the reception, James suddenly stood up, champagne glass in hand. My heart sank as he walked to the center of the room, his investment banker confidence on full display. Without any prior discussion with me or Emma, he dropped to one knee in front of Sarah. "Well, this is quite uncomfortable," Emma whispered, gripping my hand tightly. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to James and Sarah. Sarah stood there, her face unreadable. As a clinical psychologist, she had always been good at maintaining composure, but right now, something was different. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone waited for her response. "Sarah," James began, his voice carrying that theatrical quality he always used when he wanted to be the center of attention. "Will you marry me?" The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel Emma's hand tightening around mine as we watched the scene unfold. Sarah's expression shifted from surprise to something else entirely: determination. Instead of responding directly to James, she walked towards the stage where the band was set up. Each click of her heels against the hardwood floor echoed through the silent hall. When she reached for the microphone, I saw James' confident smile falter for the first time. "Marcus, Emma," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the situation. "I need to apologize in advance. I had intended to wait until after your wedding because I didn't want to create any drama. But since James has forced my hand." She took a deep breath, her professional composure evident even in this intense moment. "The revelation. The truth is," Sarah continued, her clinical training evident in her measured tone, "this proposal is nothing but a show. James has been cheating on me for the past several months with a colleague at his investment firm. I discovered the messages just last week." The reception hall, with its elegant decorations and ambient lighting, fell completely silent. Even the waitstaff froze in place, plates of gourmet appetizers suspended mid-service. I felt Emma's grip on my hand tighten as we watched the scene unfold. "I found extensive message threads between him and his coworker," Sarah explained, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. "Messages that confirmed they'd been meeting secretly for months. I have proof of their encounters." Her voice echoed through the sound system, each word striking like a precision instrument. As a clinical psychologist, Sarah understood the impact of her words, choosing them carefully despite the emotional weight behind them. "The aftermath. You're pathetically obsessed with competing with your brother," Sarah continued, her professional composure giving way to raw honesty. "And I've spent 5 years being completely loyal to you, while you—" She shook her head, her voice becoming clinical again. "I was planning to end this quietly after the wedding. But you just had to make a spectacle, didn't you?" Looking directly at James, still frozen in his proposal pose, she delivered her final blow. "I'm a psychologist, James. I should have diagnosed your narcissistic tendencies years ago. You're the most insecure, attention-seeking person I've ever met. And no, I won't marry you." With that, Sarah turned to Emma and me. Her professional mask softened as she approached us, offering a genuine hug. "Congratulations on your wedding. I'm sorry about this." Then, with the quiet dignity I'd always admired in her, she walked out of the reception hall. The silence that followed was deafening. As an doctor, I was used to chaos, but this was a different kind of emergency entirely. James, finally breaking from his shocked stupor, rushed after Sarah. Our parents, predictably, followed him. Their golden child needed consoling, after all. "Well," Emma whispered, her years of pediatric experience helping her maintain composure, "this is definitely going to be a memorable wedding." Our bridesmaids and groomsmen, many of them fellow medical professionals, quickly sprang into action. They directed the catering staff to begin serving dinner, trying to restore some semblance of normalcy to the reception. The sound of clinking silverware and murmured conversations gradually replaced the uncomfortable silence. "Should we?" Emma gestured vaguely at the door where my family had disappeared. I shook my head, years of her triage decision-making kicking in. Let them handle their own crisis for once. This is our day. But of course, in my family, nothing is ever that simple. Within hours of returning from our honeymoon, my phone would be flooded with messages from my parents, insisting that as the host of the wedding, I had some responsibility to fix this situation. I initially kept quiet because I knew what would happen, she continued, her eyes meeting mine briefly. As a psychologist, I've seen this pattern before. James, she turned to face him, still kneeling awkwardly in the middle of the floor. You're not proposing because you love me. You're doing this because you couldn't stand your brother having one day that wasn't about you. She paused, allowing her words to sink in. James's face had lost its usual confident glow, his expensive suit suddenly seeming to hang awkwardly on his frame. For 5 years, I've listened to you constantly compare yourself to Marcus. How successful he is, how everyone respects him, how he always overshadows you. It was exhausting. Even during our intimate moments, you couldn't stop talking about your brother. But you know what makes Marcus different from you, James? He achieved everything through hard work and genuine care for others, while you've been driven purely by competition and jealousy. I watched as my brother's face transformed from shock to anger to embarrassment. Our parents, Thomas and Patricia, sat frozen at their table, their usual proud expressions replaced with dismay. The crystal champagne glasses and fine china seemed to mock the elegance they'd insisted upon for the wedding. 1 week later, hospital break room. I was reviewing patient charts in the break room when my phone buzzed for the 100th time. Another message from my parents, this time from a new number I didn't recognize. They'd started using burner phones after I blocked their main numbers. Your brother is devastated, the message read. As his older brother and a doctor, you should understand the importance of family healing. I set my phone down next to my cold coffee, the irony not lost on me. As an doctor, I dealt with real emergencies daily, life and death situations that required immediate attention. This family drama wasn't one of them. More family messages? Emma asked, entering the break room, still wearing her pediatric ward coat. Her understanding smile spoke volumes about the support she'd given me through this whole ordeal. They're trying to guilt me into talking to Sarah, I explained, showing her the latest message. Apparently, being a doctor means I should fix everyone's problems, including my brother's self-inflicted ones. Finally, after another barrage of messages, I decided to reach out to Sarah. Not to mediate as my parents wanted, but to offer support as a friend. Text message exchange. Sarah, I need you to know something. As someone who's spent years dealing with trauma in the I recognize courage when I see it. What you did at the wedding. That took real bravery. You did the right thing, walking away from James. You deserve better than someone who uses people for attention. I took a screenshot of my message to Sarah before pulling up my parents' numbers. They needed to understand where I stood once and for all. Here's my position on this situation, I wrote, attaching the screenshot. I'm an doctor. I deal with real emergencies every day. James's bruised ego isn't one of them. Stop trying to make me clean up his messes. After sending the message, I blocked their numbers again, feeling the same relief I experience after successfully treating a difficult case in the The next morning, hospital office. The email from James arrived while I was updating patient charts. The familiar notification sound pulled me away from my morning routine of reviewing overnight admissions. I've always seen you as competition, James's email began. Even when our parents treated me as the golden child of investment banking, everyone knew you were better. The brilliant doctor, saving lives while I just move money around. Your success made me feel inferior, and your attempts at friendship only made it worse. I leaned back in my office chair, the early morning light filtering through the hospital windows. The monitors displaying patient vitals beeped steadily in the background as I continued reading. But reaching out to Sarah like that? That was crossing a line. His email continued. Even if mom and dad were pressuring you, you didn't need to actively encourage her to stay away from me. I get it. I messed up. But you didn't have to make it worse. The email went on to explain how our parents had always favored him because they knew he needed the extra support. Everyone could see his insecurity except me, apparently. The constant praise I received for my medical career, my marriage, my life choices, it all made him feel overshadowed. They complimented your dedication to medicine while questioning my choice of finance, he wrote. Maybe I should have worked harder instead of just trying to outdo you with flashy achievements and attention-seeking behavior. But that's in the past. The email was filled with explanations, but notably lacking in apologies. Classic James. Always justifying, never acknowledging. Emma called just as I finished reading. "How are you holding up?" she asked, her voice carrying the warmth that made her such an excellent pediatrician. "James sent me an email," I replied, glancing at the emergency department's schedule for the day. Still trying to make himself the victim. No mention of how he hurt Sarah or ruined our wedding. Later that week, hospital parking lot. I was just finishing my shift when my parents appeared in the hospital parking lot. Their luxury SUV looked out of place among the staff vehicles, much like their presence in my life lately. "Marcus, we need to talk about the family's reputation," my father announced, his real estate developer confidence failing to mask his desperation. "This whole situation needs damage control." Damage control? I couldn't help but laugh, the exhaustion from a 12-hour shift making everything seem absurdly funny. "Dad, we're not celebrities. We're not even that well known in Boston's medical community. People are talking," my mother insisted, her designer handbag clutched tightly as if it could protect her from the reality of the situation. "We need to handle this as a family." "I'm not interested in your damage control," I replied, pulling out my phone. "I'm calling security if you don't leave. I've just finished treating actual emergencies. This isn't one of them." 2 days later, beachfront hotel. Emma and I were finally starting our honeymoon when our phones exploded with notifications. My parents had taken it upon themselves to post a family statement on social media, one that included my name without permission. "We are deeply saddened by the unfortunate incident at Marcus's wedding," the post read. "Sarah's choice to publicly shame James and our family was unnecessary and attention-seeking. Signed, Thomas, Patricia, James, and Marcus." I was reviewing the post in our hotel room when Sarah called. "I've already seen it," she said before I could apologize. "I know you had nothing to do with this. I'm actually considering legal action for defamation." "Good," I replied, watching the sunset over the ocean from our balcony. "Maybe that will finally get them to understand actions have consequences, even for their golden child." Phone call from parents. "Remove my name from that post," I demanded, the ocean waves crashing behind me on the hotel balcony. "I'm a practicing physician. I can't have my name attached to false statements." "If we remove your name," my father's voice carried that familiar negotiation tone he used in real estate deals, "you'll be removing yourself from this family, including any future inheritance." I couldn't help but laugh. "Dad, I'm an attending physician. Emma's a pediatrician. We make more than enough to live comfortably. Your middle management inheritance isn't the leverage you think it is. This is how you treat family?" My mother's voice cracked with theatrical tears. "After everything we've done for you? Everything you've done? Like trying to ruin my honeymoon with this ridiculous drama? Just remove my name from the post. After that, feel free to cut all ties. I'm done." 2 weeks later, back at Boston General. The social media detox during our honeymoon had done wonders for my mental health. Back at work, focusing on actual life and death situations helped put everything in perspective. Sarah had followed through with her legal threat, forcing my parents to take down their defamatory post entirely. She was moving to a new hospital in Chicago, ready for a fresh start. James, true to form, had started telling people that his relationship with Sarah failed because she always took Marcus's side. The irony of him still making everything about me wasn't lost on anyone. You know what's funny? Emma said during our shared lunch break in the hospital cafeteria. Your brother spent his whole life competing with you, but he never understood what actually makes you successful. Genuinely caring about others. I looked around at my colleagues, at the patients we helped every day, at my brilliant and compassionate wife. I think I won the things that really matter.